Today, we're facing a major problem in the world where there's some people who are so closed-minded and bigoted that they're against segregating society into two classes of citizens. Meanwhile, New Zealand, UK, and Canadian leaders have finally quit beating around the bush and announced that they are in fact creating two classes of citizens. And I'm feeling safer already. And in the US, other white people named Biden and Fauci are doing their best to do the same. There's just one problem. Unfortunately, in the US, there's a movement opposing segregating society. It's actually arising all over the world, and to be honest with you, it pisses me off. These dangerous far-right extremists are putting us all at risk of being treated fairly. These bigots want equal rights for everyone? They're terrorists. They're so blinded by their hate for inhumane treatment of people that they don't realize the truth of the matter, which is that some of us are a little more equal than others, and we should be treated accordingly. And I don't think that's too much to ask. I mean, you can just look at the history of segregating a society into two classes, which proves that having two classes in society is the right way to move forward into a bright, prosperous future that works out really well for everyone. But these terrorists just ignore the history. I mean, think about it. In the US, we've been deprived of segregation since the 1960s when Martin Luther King Jr. led the Civil Rights Revolution and ended it, assisted by fellow extremist Rosa Parks. But before that, in the good old days, we had the safety and protection of having two classes of citizens. Because luckily in 1865, laws were passed which restricted the rights of black people living in the South, including mandates on where they could live and mandates on where they could work. I mean, excuse me, unless I'm just a moron here, having two classes of citizens was a very effective way of telling black people you're a lesser class of citizen, and therefore have less rights. But then Martin Luther King had to plot to end segregation, and he succeeded. I mean, look at the world ever since. Black people and white people just live together as a united people. And another example, even before all that, we had laws that honored the fact that women are second-class citizens. Because how else are they gonna know? They were put in their place. They couldn't vote or do much else other than make babies and have their man's drink ready when he came home from work. But we've lost sight of this truth. And now society is plagued by the dangers of us just pretending that women are equal to men. Everyone suffers. Same class of citizen? Really? Women don't even have penises. Another example of the success of creating two classes of citizens is in the 1930s when the Hitler-led Nazis did it in Germany. You had the superior race, and then as Hitler would say, you had the dirty Jews. Allow them to eat in the same place as normal people? Gross. The Nazis were smart enough to indoctrinate their citizens into believing they could catch diseases from being around this lower class of citizen. It's science. Kind of like how Biden and Fauci routinely inform us that we're at risk of catching diseases from a certain class of people. It's science. But I will say bathrooms are one area that segregation has no place. All people should be able to use all bathrooms because all people are capable of being any gender at any given time. I stand for unity in restrooms and segregation in society. Back to history. China's been really good at recognizing second-class groups of people. They got the Uyghurs in concentration camps as we speak to protect the rest of their citizens from making contact with them. And China's willingness to do the right thing with the Tibetans can inspire all of us to a better way of life. I just think it's unfortunate that the Dalai Lama got away. I mean, how much better off would the world be without that second-class citizen floating around? And then you have an extremist like Gandhi. I mean, amongst his other crimes against humanity, he ended Britain's discrimination against the Dalitas people, who Britain considered to be the lowest class of people in India. Gandhi's dangerous ideals had him harming society by advocating that everyone be treated with love, respect, and equality. It makes me so angry that he could even get away with that. Gandhi is such an idiot. A united society is not a controllable society. The history is very clear. Anytime you have two classes of people, good is happening and the world's becoming a better place. And anytime you have unity and equality, evil is flourishing and the world's becoming a terrible place. And to the naysayers who are like, ooh, having two classes of citizens destroys a democracy. Well, you know what? We have a really good reason for having two classes of people. And it's almost like these naysayers completely don't understand that white lawmakers in 1865 had really good reasons too. And the Nazis had really good reasons as well. So with where we're at today, Are you going to accept a segregated society, or are you going to refuse to comply with it? Well, you have to ask yourself this question. Do you want to align with the policies of humanitarians like Hitler and the Nazis, racist white lawmakers in 1865, the Chinese Communist Party, and Biden and Fauci, all of whom just wanted to protect their people by creating a second class of citizens with restricted rights? Or do you want to align yourself with dangerous extremists who ended segregation and championed unity and equality, like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, the Dalai Lama, and Gandhi? Gandhi? Because you just got to think, what if the world never had these people and had more of these people? How much better off would we be? And now you get to choose.